Well then, today I would like to talk about something that recently popped up in my head. And this is the thing I'm sure most of people encounter with, and me personally, I've encountered that thing many times. And I want to talk about the desire-driven actions, the desire-driven moves, the desire-driven ideas, desire-driven things, and basically the desire drive, the drive of the desire, which I think most of people encounter it as well and can relate to those who experience that. So once we have this sort of brand new idea, that brand new desire that kind of blows up my mind in a way, because we get all these feelings toward this. We have these feelings and we tend to think according to those feelings, and what we think is, oh wow, this is really lovely, this is really gonna be cool, and you kind of getting into that, right? You're getting into that and you really think that, wow, this is a really good idea, I really love it, this gonna really work, or something like, yeah, this is what I was really need all the time, or this is like a sign from above, a sign from the supreme consciousness, from the God, or whoever it is. So there might be all those things. But what is really noticeable for me is that desire is not permanent. As I see that desire is not permanent, otherwise the whole life would be a heck easy. Because, well, you know what desire is. Desire is the impulse to actions. And when you have this sort of natural impulse to action, there is no more need in the self-discipline. There is no more need in some schedule. You just naturally want what you want. And if the thing that you want is something that benefits you in either way, well then you got a jackpot on your hands. But, well, you know, of course, I can't really say that I'm 100% sure that it refers to everyone in this world. But what I do from my side is understanding the world through myself, and myself through the world, and this has something to do with our physiology, right? With our body, with the chemicals that this body produces, with the mind, with the thoughts, and every new idea is not really new, because you cannot think new. You can think something that you already know, but it popped up from somewhere and you don't really know from where, but wherever it came from, it feels like it's so alive. This is it, right? And so then, therefore, we tend to think that this is really it. But what I want to say is, regarding the physiology, what I was meant to say was that all those sort of new things, those we experience in our life, whatever it is, they're extremely vivid. they're extremely bright, and we naturally have this tendency to react on that because it's something new. Like, imagine yourself or remember yourself first time trying the chocolate, or you had some drug history. Imagine the first time getting a drug that really makes you high. Well, this is kind of what hooks you. The difference is that you get high from your thought. If that was coming from an idea or from an event, if that came like an event or human or like response to your desire. So that this is how you tend to react. And you know what, I tell you that I know people who really desired some things, those who really in cry for help. Not really verbally and not really that open, but more of inside. It was more like inner desire to change something, and in a moment, like a snap of the fingers, the universe replied to them. They had this random encounters with random people, those offered them some solution that they were really looking for. I'm telling you, I know these people, and they still think that was kind of a miracle, but not much change in their life. Well, the desire is good to start you moving, but eventually it fades away. It fades away. And it's absolutely natural, the human being, to, sort of lose that intensity of the fire, because whatever is burning, whatever is lit on the fire, it tends to burn down to the ashes. So then, whenever you feel that the idea is no longer living in you, that initial impulse is fading away, don't be worried. This is absolutely fine. This is what I think how it's meant to be. But then, what do? In order to keep yourself on the track and don't get back into that routine, into that one where you would just drown down and keep being old you, or stop doing those things that would bring you somewhere. Well, you're trying to be reasonable. You're trying to make a plan and a schedule. Because, that's what you have to do in order to keep yourself on the track. Well, as I said, we're human. We are a human being, and we have this wonderful brain that allows us to get back in the past, go forward in the future, be in the present, to plan, to analyze. No other animal probably can do that to that extent to which we can. And so then, you make a plan, you make a schedule, and you kind of trying to follow it. Well, of course. Alright, here we started the topic that I never talk about, but kind of thought about it, and the thing they're gonna say are not completely my things. I think of Jiri Krishnamurti as well, but let's see what comes out of that. let's see what comes out of that. You create a schedule. You make a plan, and you're kind of trying to follow it. Well, of course, it's gonna be hard because you had this desire, now it's gone, and now you get back to your old feelings, to your old habits, to your old actions, to basically old you. What we can say, old you, I guess. And so you try to follow that. The first thing that you might encounter during following that is there is a moment of tension. Can happen because there is a struggle. Because there is a struggle between who and who. There is a struggle between one fragment and another fragment, the old you and kind of new lovely picture of you that you imagined, and this lovely picture of you is saying, no, this is not what you really have to do in order to get to the point where you want to get. Do another thing. And there is a conflict between these two. Because the things are a bit messed up, also because the old you kind of has this emotional connection, this habitual connection to the thing, and the habit is like firmly composed the circuit of your brain, which just can be fired very easily, and therefore you feel it. It's sort of more stronger, and if you won't be reasonable enough, but even if you will be reasonable, but without this sort of proper action that you add on this reasoning, what might happen that you might get into the trap of being thinker, of keep thinking, but no doing the thing that you think about. That's where you might get, and this is a very dangerous place to be, because you falling into the trap of this fake knowledge. You've thought about so many wonderful things. You might think that you understood them all, but eventually you're the same old guy or girl, and you're not moving anywhere, just verbal wanking. That's what you do. So then, you gotta apply, but is there any way to do so without any of these conflicts, without any of these tensions? Well, because the tension itself is very natural, and if you're unconscious about the tension, if you're unconscious about the thoughts that you think about the tension, and the thought that you think when you're tensed, you will get in trouble. Because whenever the tension happens, you will have the negative experience of it. And where you have the negative experience, you have the negative conclusion. And negative conclusions lead to the actions. And your following action is going to be, it doesn't worth it. Nah, I don't want it anymore. No, it's too hard. I don't really need it. And and all those things. But it's not just because you don't really need it. Not necessarily to be so. It's simply because you were unconscious about the thoughts you think, and how you form your thoughts, how those emotions that you have about this tension drive you. You know what I mean? So, is there any way to do so without the tension? But keep doing it. as we got from a few minutes ago, the tension appears only when there is a contradiction and fight between two or more of the fragments that you imagine in yourself. I would say that there should be a scientific approach to that. And so the scientific approach is based on the idea, know your brain, know your body, how it functions, how you think, what you think, and why you think what you think, and how you can change it. What is your personality and where is it stored? Why you have the thoughts you have, why you have the feelings you have, why you have ideas you have, and how you look at the world, and all those things, but eventually the core of all that is how all this is happening with you. And the answer is it's in the brain. Well, right, it's in the brain, but I've tried many of those affirmations. I've tried positive thinking, but nothing seems to be working with me. So all those things probably either not working or I'm a hopeless case. Well then, yeah, that's what people were really saying. Neither of those things. I would say you're not hopeless, you're ignorant, because you're not really learning deeply, you're not really watching yourself, you're not learning deeply. Probably you gotta suffer a little bit more in order to get this desire of digging deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper in getting to the truth. But for now you might suffer, and you might suffer a lot and never get there. And this is how most of the people live. I stay around. But what I have to do is have this complex approach to your brain. I have to understand how to change those circuits, those fire new thoughts, the thought that fire those emotions, and emotions those fire the thoughts and the actions, and you create an experience, an outcome. How this is happening, how you can willingly, consciously change it to something that you really want, but not what you gathered randomly throughout your lifespan. You know what I mean? How do you do so? And so then, one of the things that was coming in my head was the meditation with the suggestions of hypnotherapy sessions, yoga nidra, and many other techniques. Those allow you to get into the brain state where you can put a suggestion, remove the negative experiences, the feelings of those experiences, But this is not the topic of this conversation, but this is one way, and I would say that this one way is more appropriate for the modern man, rather than the way where you kind of have to learn how to observe. You gotta learn how to, separate yourself from the image, if I can say so. But of course I'm saying this from my current state of ignorance. I don't really mean it. I mean it, but you don't really have to trust that. So, the jacket. Another thing is you observe as neither image. Just can observe this contradiction and don't take any actions, don't take any decisions, no choices. And this is really hard to do, because eventually you get used to making the choices and doing the actions as taking the decisions. but there is a way to observe. And in this observation, all those fightings, all those contradictions, tensions, they fade away. Because you didn't fire them up with the new thoughts, with the new actions, with the new ideas. Because what fires this? All the old thing is the thought that, oh my freaking God, how hard it is. I'm a freaking God, I'm not worth it. I'm a freaking God, I'm not made for that. Holy crap, this is so hard, I cannot do that. Why so hard? And so, all those things. The thought is the thing. The first thought, the very first thought that you think is what kind of fires that. And that's it, that's how it works. I mean, you can downsize all those philosophies, all those psychotherapy things to just bare physiology, and that's pretty much freaking it. And that's goddamn it. The easiest way to understand all that, without all those bullshit and misconceptions, as I see that. Because if you don't know what it is, like if you don't know what is the space, what is the earth, that the earth is not freaking flat, that it's freaking round. What is the sun? What is this, solar system, the galaxy? You would tend to think some other things, like, people used to think that the sun is some sort of god, and they worshipped it. And okay, I don't really have the decent examples right now, because I'm not prepared, of course. All I'm saying right now is just I go with the flow. That's it. But that's my point. When you don't really know, and by knowing, that's really important, by the way, by the knowing, I don't mean this mental understanding of something. Mental understanding is not the big case. It's not a big deal, to be honest, because this is the brain we have, and this is what it's capable to do. We manage to understand the speech. We manage to compose the words into the sentence into the paragraphs into the book, and that's how you deliver the sense to the people, right? And you understand the sense, but it doesn't mean that you really know. So let's make a distinction here. It's very important, because the more you say you know, the more you bullshit yourself and fall into the trap of the fake knowing, of the not knowing, of just this mental wanking and understanding that doesn't move you anywhere. So, yeah. When you don't really know, which means that you did not experience that personally, honestly. Of course, you want to get something out of this, and you start imagining the things, and you get into this trap of fake knowing, because nobody wants to be a fool, nobody wants to be an idiot, everyone wants to get everything right now, all the wisdoms, all the experiences of life, everything right now in this moment, everyone you want to get. Eventually they end up being idiots. So if you don't really know, please don't make a mistake of bullshitting yourself, of shattering your eyes with some fake information. Because when you don't know, you have a vast space, you have a vast space and opportunities to really explore and know, really know. And so I feel like that's it for now. That's pretty much it for now. I just gonna summarize what we've talked about today. We've talked about the desire-driven actions, the natural fading and disappearing of the initial impulse, desire, the dealing with that, the problems of dealing with that, and about 2 approachings on how to follow the schedule. The one which is suitable for most, where you just basically reprogram yourself to the new personality. But we did not really get deeper into that because this isn't the topic of this audio. And another one is the observation, which is the meditation. So then, yeah, that's it for now.